So moving abroad I have found, doesn't just require more planning and strategy and consideration, but it requires more emotional release and regulation than you really think, than you really expect, because the reality is you don't know until you know. It's one of those situations of when you're going through a big transition, you don't really know what you're really doing. You're just navigating it and figuring it out as you go, which can bring up a lot of stuff. So, story time. Probably about 10 weeks or so before we left, my sister came to visit, which was really nice. I hadn't seen her in a while. She wanted to see us before we left. And at the time we were in transition, we had sold our house. And so we were staying in the basement apartment of a dear, dear friends of ours. And it was a little too cramped in there for my sister to come too. And so we got an Airbnb for the time that she was staying with us for those few days. So we went to the Airbnb. It was great. So I think it was maybe the first or second night that we were there. Everyone was asleep. Everyone went to bed. I think it was the first night because everyone was tired. So everyone went to bed. My sister, the kids, Austin in bed, right next to me, sleep. And I was like, I can't sleep. You can't sleep before something big is going to happen. Like I didn't sleep well before my wedding. I didn't sleep well when knew it was getting close to the due date for, my first child was sovereign. Like they're just, a big party is about to happen. You may not sleep very well. So there's a lot of things going on in your head. There's a lot of things coming up for you. And that's how I was feeling. I was laying in the bed, but I couldn't sleep. And so I didn't want to disturb Austin. I wasn't going to turn the TV on in the room. And so I had my little phone under the covers. I had my little earbuds in. I plugged that into my phone. I had my little earbud. And I was like, let me just watch a feel good movie. At the time, this was like the end of December. So all of the feel good Christmas rom-coms were out. And I love watching those. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this feel good. I know what's going to happen. It's super predictable, but it's going to have a happy ending. And it's just going to be nice and easy, breezy. I'm scrolling through Netflix to find, one of these. And I get to one and I was like, ooh, this is going to be good. I'm seeing this good actors in it. It's Amelia Clark and Michelle Yeoh and Emma Thompson. I was like, okay, this is not like your B movie romantic comedy where you don't know any of the main actors, which is fine. I'm just saying this is going to be good. So I sat and I'm watching it, and it is good. I'm in it. It's well acted. It's well written. It's well done. It is feel good. It's fun. It's funny. And something told me it was going to take a turn, but I'm invested now. And it took a turn towards the end, and at the end, where it was still very beautiful, but also heartbreaking. And I wasn't ready, right? Because most of them, it's just feel good. It's not trying to break your heart. It's not trying to be, all. And I start weeping, sobbing under the covers in this Airbnb. My husband is sleeping right next to me. And I'm like, thank goodness he snores sometimes, because I'm like, and I'm just like sobbing, and my pillow was getting all wet, and my cheeks are wet, and it's just my eyes were just full of the waters. And yeah, I'm sobbing at this movie. Now granted, I am the type to cry at like very touching moments, even if it's fictional, in a book, in a movie, in a television show. But I'm sobbing. And then I don't even know how to justify this. I started to calm down, and then I went back into the movie and rewatched the two scenes that were so pivotal, and I started crying again. And I was like, man, in hindsight, right? Not in that moment. At that moment, I was just a sobbing mess under the covers in an Airbnb next to my sleeping husband. But in hindsight, I was like, I must have needed that release. Something in me, I must have needed that, because so much was about to change. And even though I was excited about it, I had those thoughts of like, okay, is everything going to be okay? Do we have everything? Do we have our passports? Do we have everything we need for our flight? Like when we get there, are we gonna, the luggage? I was thinking about our luggage, and maybe I manifested that whole thing that happened with the lost luggage, if you've seen that video. But I was thinking about all these things. And I was like, there was so much coming up for me. I was like, maybe I needed this release. And sometimes you need to release. And nothing really could have prepared me for actually making the move, actually doing it, sitting in the surrealness of it, right? Like it feels surreal. It feels like it's happening and it's not happening. And I don't think that I expected such a flood of things to come through me in such a short amount of time. At this point, we are only here for a little over 4 weeks, right? And there's a part of me in my spirit that wants to be nomadic and start to be like, what's the next place that we want to go and plan out for the next year and all of that. And there's a part of me, well, not plan out, but also imagine and vision for all the places we want to go on our list. And there's another part of me that's like, I want to feel and be grounded, which we are here because we have a place to stay, we have a roof over our head. But sometimes those feelings feel like they're combating each other. And I'm like, I'm kind of floating and I'm a little bit in limbo and I don't exactly know what's going to happen. And some of that is exciting. And some of it's like, and it's heightened when you're going through something like this, moving to a new country. It could be a new baby. It could be a new job, right? Any of these big transitions. The emotion of it all feels heightened because the inconvenience is heightened. I don't exactly know fully how things work here. So there's things that are unfamiliar in the midst of things that feel familiar, which is great. Like being in a city again, coming from New York, walking the bodegas and corner stores and those kind of things still feel familiar, but I still feel a fish out of water, in some ways. And just like not things not going as planned, which happened today, which sparked this video because I had something else planned. And I was like, nah, I think Spirit's saying, let's talk about this because we went to the second story within a story. We went to the bank and we went to the bank to open up a bank account. Simple thing that you would do in just regular, regular life. And we had gone with a friend who spoke fluent Spanish to get the information from the same bank about what we needed to bring and what we needed to collect to be able to open up a bank account. And when we got there with the information that they said they were supposed to have, they were like, no, you actually also need this. And that thing is probably going to take us maybe a month, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less for us to procure before we can get a bank account. Now we could still move about and buy things and do things. It's just less convenient when it comes to bigger purchases like our rent and stuff like that, right? Every month. What we have to do to make sure that goes through would be a lot easier if we had a bank account. And so it's inconvenient and it is frustrating. And when we left with our little folder of paperwork that we thought we were supposed to have, but needed something else, I could tell I shifted because it was frustrating because I was like, I'm leaving here and we didn't accomplish what we set out to accomplish. That wasn't the plan. We felt like we were prepared. We had everything printed out. We had it in a little folder and then it was like, nope, you still need this. Okay. And so February is going to be another month where we're piecing it together in a way that isn't as seamless and as smooth as we would like it to be. And so I can also tell my husband is frustrated and really putting in the effort to not take that frustration out on the rest of us. Same with me because we're human and sometimes we do that. Like I'm already feeling like this. I don't need any other thing in my ear, anybody to touch me. I don't want anything else, right? I need a minute type of thing. But we were still interacting. And in the background of my mind, I'm like, okay, this is something we can't control. It's going to be okay. We can do it. It's just a little less convenient. But when you're moving abroad, the inconveniences, the places where you're not familiar, the things you're not familiar with, the learning curve, it's all stacked up on each other. And so more things are coming up for you. And so when we got home, we still a moment, like the kids are doing their independent thing. We still a moment in the bed. He's laying down, I'm laying down with him. And I said, okay, vent, let it out. I'm going to listen. And he was like, I just feel like this. And I know we can't. He's working it out in real time, which I love because I'm usually the verbal processor. So I love to see him kind of delve into that world a little bit. And I'm just listening. And he's going off. And then any other person besides me would think, oh, he's done. I was like, no, he's got more, because there was a pause. And then he was like, and he kept going, right? And then he was finally done. And I just listened and I said, you feel better? He's like, yeah. And he just needed to vent and he just needed to release. But imagine with all the things stacked up with us, if he or I, because I then chimed in about like, yeah, what I was feeling and all of that. But like, if he or I were like keeping that bottled in, you cannot, especially in big transitions, because they will test you, because they will make you deal with more emotion than you have, than you think you will have to deal with, and regulate that emotion and be aware of those emotions. And so it's important that we release it, because just because we may have suppressed it and we didn't say anything doesn't mean it's not there anymore. It doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear. That energy is still in there. And it's why we're snippy to our kids or have less patience with our spouse, or, you know, we could go somewhere and have a good time, and we're like, no, we're not going to go. And not because in our head, we know it'll probably make us feel better, but we want to hold on to not feeling better because we're still holding on to the feeling that we had that didn't feel good. And the reality is it's still there. So you might as well release it. You might as well let it go. And a lot of times for us, we are what we have here physically, right? There's nobody else here that we would really vent to or release in that way to. And so, for you and for us, it's good to discern who you're going to release to, where it makes sense. I mean, for us, we just had this collective experience together at the bank, just a regular old experience, you know, and it kind of triggered some stuff because we're not home. If we were at home and this happened, like, okay, we're just going to do that at home, right? I don't even know. I still call it that, home country, home, but yeah, anyway, I'm having a moment in real time with you all, like, staying home and what that means to me now, because that's something I think that I'm gonna have to look at too. Like, what does home mean? And essentially, it's where my family is. And so, I digress. But ultimately, we just had that moment, regular moment at the bank together, and so it made sense that we would release to each other. But sometimes I'm like, no, I'm gonna call a friend. I'm gonna call my friend so and so. I'm gonna call my friend, this friend or that friend. Um, and release to them, because either they're going to get it or they're going to understand, or their sentiment is something that feels good to me. And so it's important too to know, who are you releasing to? Does that make sense? And I want to speak to this thing that I had to learn, and I would say I learned it for real, maybe about 4 years ago. Yeah, Zen's 3.5, probably about right before I had Zen. And a lot of times we're quiet and we suppress because of what we think the other person is going to do. How are they going to respond? Oh, they're not going to like this. It's going to upset them. I'm feeling sad. I don't want to make them sad. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer or the Dwayne Downer in the situation. So I'm not going to say anything. And we just hold on, hold on, hold on. And the reality is, you're not even giving that other person, right? If this is somebody who cares for you, loves you, you're not giving that other person, that partner, that friend, an opportunity to be there for you. You're not allowing them to demonstrate love in the sense of, like, if you share something with them, then it's like, oh, this person wants to share with me. They trust me. They're giving me this thing, and they're allowing me to hold space for them in this moment. And that's something I had to learn, because as a woman, I think too, especially, and I know men have their reasons too, but I'm speaking from my experience. I'm like, oh, I don't want to burden anybody with this. I don't want to say this. I don't want to release this to so and so. And I'm like, nah, people say it to me, and I don't have to be the one all the time. That's some ego stuff that has to be put aside. They can also be there for me, right? Giving and receiving is cyclical. And I know we've been told that it's better to give than to receive. And I'm like, what in the whole, what is that? Because there is no giving without receiving. How can one be better than the other? And yet we're trained to believe that. And so we don't release a lot of things that we need to release. We may even be aware of what's happening with us, even slightly, and we don't want to share it with somebody. We don't want to let it go so that it doesn't make us sick, give us a headache, get us in a state of overwhelm or anxiety or stress because we're concerned about what the other person will think. We're concerned if we were supposed to be the one, people come to me, I'm the fixer, I'm the one who helps everybody else, and that becomes the identity. Then you're not allowing yourself to be helped, and you're not allowing somebody else who loves and cares about you to be your person, to hold space for you. And again, the giving and receiving is cyclical. And so in these big life transitions, stuff will come up. I mean, for it to be such a short amount of time, and honestly, it feels longer. I was talking to my daughter and us about this. It feels like we've been here longer. And I think it's because we found a way to get settled within the first month. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you're still living out your suitcase and things like that. And it was not gonna work for our nervous system. And we made sure that we were settled. And yet and still, it feels like in a short amount of time, a lot has come up because we are someplace new. And while we are living like locals, we do our laundry. We walk the streets to the corner store or to the convenience store or to the fruit market. We have to go get our local phone set up. We got to go to the bank to try to open a bank account. We take the kids to the park, like regular life stuff. We are still very much tourists here because we're not from here. It's all new. And so that that reality starts to stack up on itself, and things can come up like fear of if we're going to be okay, scared is like this going to work, that feeling of pressure that it has to right, like we put it all, we stepped all in this, we didn't really just dip our pinky toe in. How is this going to affect my children? I think about all the beautiful and wonderful ways it's going to affect them. And also, it's yet to be revealed in other ways. Is there going to be something that comes up for them that doesn't exactly feel so good? And that's okay. We can talk through, we can talk about it, be there for them and support them. And I still think about it as a parent. You're like, am I, is this, are my children going to be okay? If they're going around the world, are they going to have a good sense of self? And are they going to appreciate and celebrate and understand um, their blackness and their culture in the midst of all the other cultures that they get to experience, and understand how they fit in and how it weaves together? This is my goal, to show them that we are everywhere and what that looks like, right? That's part of the world schooling experience, not just for them, but also for me, for Ostis, to be able to see that, to be able to experience that and feel that in our bodies. But these things, these thoughts are thoughts that run through my head. Um, and you just sometimes have to take the leap, and you have to figure it out as you're going, and you have to build the plane while you're flying it, which is a crazy analogy when you think about it, because that literally wouldn't work. But yet here we are. That's the analogy. People get what you mean when you say that. And that's what I'm doing. Even in this experience of like, I'm going to show up daily, right? I'm going to build this muscle. I'm going to create this discipline. I'm going to talk about things that I feel are important, that matter to me, that hopefully will matter and resonate with other people as well. And even pushing myself into this territory, and finding space for me to be creative and do something new, and learn as I go, because I don't have all the answers. It's literally like mirroring my experience being in another country. And so, yeah, I I know that I have to continue to be really aware of what's going on with me internally, my own sense of emotional regulation. And then I also have to be willing to vent, to release it to to whomever, makes sense in my life and in my world and in my circles. And yeah, big life transitions moving to a new country, feeling like a fish out of water, maybe starting a new job, or, it's just all the things. You're pivoting in your career, you're going back to school, so much that we go through where we have to shift. We can't hold it in, y'all. We gotta release it, and it will test us, but we gotta release it. So thank you, gracias, bienvenidos, o bienvenidos otra vez. Welcome again to this space. I'm Imani Aisha. I'm here making videos to inspire, motivate, and empower us to feel good within our relationship with ourselves and with our partners and others as we navigate the inevitable challenges and changes that life will throw us. While I take you on the journey of one of the biggest life transitions that we've made in a long time, which is moving our family of 4 abroad. So welcome to the journey. Thank you for being here with me. Please, if you feel like this resonated with you, if you like this, you're feeling the whole vibe here, subscribe, and let's continue the conversation in the comments. Let me know what was relatable here, what resonated with you, what you might be taking away. And if you're like, hey, this is something I feel like somebody else might like to, hit that share button. You know what I'm saying? Share it in the group chat, send it in a text message, you know? And yeah, because you never know who needs to hear what. Sometimes I'm talking out loud. And I'm like, oh, I needed to hear that because I don't really have a script for these. I'm just in conversation with you. So again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Te veo mañana. Gracias. See you on the flip side.